Hey, boss.
What is it?
It's time.
Already? Were there any survivors?
A few. Some even finished it.
Finished it? Well, good thing I've made it even harder.
Hi there, cuties. How are you all doing today? It's me, the assistant to Dark Q, here to tell you the rules and prompts for Herkyed 2.0. That is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Round 2. Yes, we're back, and I'm just here to report on what Dark Q has created for you, so don't shoot the messenger. Dark Q would like it noted that they did learn a lot during Herkyed 1. They were quite frankly overwhelmed by the response, so they have been cooking on this for a while. So much so that Herkyed now finally has its own website linked in the description. This will be your one-stop shop for everything you need for Herkyed 2.0. It has the history, the rules, the different ways you can play. All of the prompts and all of the submission forms are there. With everything in this video, don't worry, there will be a live FAQ tomorrow, June 7th. Granted, if you're watching this on Ko-fi now, it's a little bit further on, but for all of our regular YouTube viewers, it's going to be June 7th, and you will be able to ask Q live all of your questions and comments. Not me, because just the messenger, but feel free to take out your rage and anger on Dark Q on tomorrow's stream. Okay, great. And that will be at 12 Eastern time, Eastern Daylight Time. All right, so without further ado, let's get into those modes that we talked about. There are 2 ways that you can play Herkyed 2 this time round. We, of course, have the basic mode, which you will find fairly familiar with the no DNFs, no rereads, etc., except this time around, you are allotted to reread a book after reading 10 new books. Then you earn a freebie there, okay? However, if you're doing the basic mode, there is no allotment for DNFing books. So if you DNF a book, it does not count towards Herkyed. And if you participated in Herkyed round 1, you'll know that the purple prompts were for doubling up. This is gone now. No more of that. Purple prompts are now customizable prompts. We'll get into that a bit later. But now this is because you can double up across the board. You can use any one book twice for 2 different prompts. You can't do any more than that, but you can double up. And if for some reason you don't like a prompt on the board, you can then replace it by reading 5 self-published books with under 500 ratings on whatever platform you usually review or rate or find your books on. And that will count for that prompt no matter what it is. And if you don't like that replacement prompt or the original prompt, well, then you're screwed. And you'll notice the board looks very similar. We have white prompts and purple prompts. White prompts are set in stone, in marble, if you will. They are not changeable. They have strict rules, but purple prompts are customizable. So we'll have a theme to the prompt that you get to decide a little bit more of the parameters for. Now, that was all of the basic regular mode. If you want an extra challenge, we now have a points version. So if you're a little bit more in the competitive spirit, this one's for you. So every book you read can contribute to these points, which will allow for certain thresholds that you can use at your discretion. Don't worry. Of course, Dark Q has made a spreadsheet for you. What is she, a monster? Don't answer that. So points can be redeemed in one of 4 ways. Once you get to 50 points, instead of the 10 new books, you have now earned yourself a reread. 50 points is actually pretty easy to get to because if you hit one of everything on your book, that is exactly 50 points. However, it is impossible to do that. But it should take you less to reach that 50-point threshold than reading 10 new books and then earning a reread. You can redeem 100 points to count a DNF that you made it to the 51% mark or further, but at least 51%. Redeeming 250 points means you can now triple up one of your books. And if you decide to redeem 500 points, this means you can count a prompt finished when it is shorted by one book. So you don't actually have to finish the entire prompt. So let's say there's a prompt that requires you to read 7 books of something and you only read 6 of those, redeem 500 points, and now that prompt is complete. So how do you get those points? There are so many ways. We have different categories of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 point markers. And you are not restricted to how many points you can redeem on a book. Like I said, there is a possible 50 that is technically impossible, but you could read almost every single prompt on the point system for one book, and that's fine. And don't worry, the handy dandy spreadsheet will let you just click a little checkbox and it will tally your points for you and tell you how much you earned. It will also tell you when you redeem a book how much you have left. Most ways to earn the points have 3 to 4 ways, so let's get into it. To earn 1 point, if the book you read counted for a different readathon you are participating in, doesn't matter. You can use it even if it didn't count for Herkyet itself. If it was part of another readathon, that's another point. If you, like me, have a large backlist of arcs from like NetGalley or something, but it has already come out into publication, you're just late on it, that will get you 1 point for finishing it. And you can get a point by reading a book by your least favorite means. So if you're like me and you hate reading ebooks, I would get a point for every ebook that I read. But for say you don't like reading in audiobook form, you get a point if you did it on audiobook. Let's move over to the 2-point category. If the book, without predicting it being a 5-star, ended up being a 5-star read, you get 2 points. If you read a book that is, as of right now, in this moment, before Herkyet 2.0 starts, is on your physical TBR and you read it, 2 points. Anything purchased after July 7th does not count for this. And if you read a book that is over 500 pages or over 20 hours long in audiobook, 2 points. And for the 3-point category, if you have read a new release within the month of its release, kind of old Herkyet rules, 3 points. If you read an entire book in one day that is over 200 pages long and not a graphic novel or comic, you can get points. And if you finish a duology, it does not matter when you started this duology, but if you still have the second book to finish and you do it, 3 points. You can, of course, start and finish a duology within Herkyet for this point, but it can count for any of those that you have just been waiting to finish. Moving on to 4 points if you finish a trilogy. Does not matter when you started reading this trilogy, as long as you finish it, 4 points. And remember all those self-published books I was saying you could read? Well, you'll get 4 points for each one, regardless of its rating status. And if you're in the middle of a series that is still ongoing, but you reach that up to publication point, the latest release that there is, even if there's going to be more, 4 points. And yes, you can redeem that multiple times if within Herkyet another book comes out and you read it and you're back into that up to publication status, 4 points. And now for the big hitters, the 5-pointers. If you read a book by any form of a marginalized author, if you finish a book that is an arc for you way before release, regardless really, just before the release date, then you get 5 points. If you finish any series, regardless of how long it is, from the 4-book to more than that, and it's completed, it is fully published, you get 5 points for finishing that series. And every time that you write or post, if you do like video reviews, every time you post a review in some format that is a detailed review, not just a rating, but has some details to it, you get 5 points for every single one. You're no longer required to review every book you read, even though like it'd be cool, especially for those indies you should do. But if you are really wanting some extra points, write or post a detailed review of it. And that is the point system, if that makes sense to you. Otherwise, hop over to that FAQ live stream and DarkQ will answer all of your questions. Well, let's finally get to the part that you've all been waiting for, the official Herkyet 2.0 bingo board. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she terrible? Doesn't it just horrify you and excite you at the same time? In this bingo board, there are now 7 total purple prompts and 18 white prompts for 25 prompts in total for our 5x5 board. And just like last year, the spirit of the game is to get blackout, but if you want to reduce it and just get a bingo, That is totally okay. Once again, just a friendly reminder that Dark Q does not fully control your reading life, so do with this what you will. All right, let's get into the white prompts. First, we have prompt number 1, by the hundreds. You must read 7 books at each different level of page number. That is a book that is over 100 pages to 199 pages, and then 200 to 299, 3 to 399, 4 to 499, 5 to 599, 6 to 699, and 7 to anything. Actually, it doesn't have to be 799. You could read an 800 book. It does not matter. But yes, Dark Q is that cruel to make you read that chunky of a book. See where that 500 point little redemption comes in handy? Yeah. Prompt number 2, the 24-hour reading challenge is back. However, the parameters are a little looser. It can be however many books you can fit in to a 24-hour period. However, you do not take naps or anything. Once you go to sleep, that is the end of your timer. Now, of course, you can take breaks for food or children or whatever's in your life, but once you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm starting my challenge now until you fall asleep. That is the parameter. You try to stay awake as long as you can to finish your book within 24 hours or whatever, however many books you want to do. Does not matter what books they are. They can all be manga. They can all be graphic novels. I just want you to challenge yourself to read as much as you can in one day. Prompt number 3 is the series staircase. We're going to start you off with just reading a standalone. Doesn't matter which one it is. Read a standalone. And then you're going to start and finish a duology, and then a trilogy, and then a series with 4 books or more in it that you do have to start and finish. Or you are allowed to use an already in progress series, but you have to have at least 4 books left in that series. So let's say you're reading Discworld, you need to read 4 Discworld books that you haven't read before. That'll be fine. Prompt number 4, the last 10 years. Let's take a look back on the last 10 years of publishing and read a book from every publication year, starting from 2015 to 2025 or 2016 to 2026. That is up to you. You can go big and do all 12, but you're only required to do 10. Prompt number 5, all the adaptations. You all know that Dark Q loves adaptations and retellings and things. Well, this is the opportunity, but also this is an opportunity not even to read a book. So there are 8 categories inside this prompt, and that is, of course, the ones that must be books are reading a modern retelling of a classic or a graphic novel comic adaptation of a classic or a TV show, anything like that. The rest may provide you an opportunity to either read the book or enjoy the media. So you could either watch the movie adaptation or read where the movie got the source material from, or vice versa. There are some that are movies first and then write books. That's fine. You're going to do the same thing with a TV show, a play, a musical, a web series, and any kind of animation. Does not matter what format that animation is in, as long as it is an adaptation of something. To recap, just to make sure that I hit everything that we're going to do, we have a modern retelling of a classic, a graphic novel, and a musical, play, TV show, web series, animation, and movie. Those are your 8 different prompts. So you could go big and do both. You know, you could watch the movie and read the book, etc. Or you can do one or the other. Does not matter, as long as you're consuming the story. Prompt number 6 was a highly requested prompt, and honestly, Dark Q is a little ashamed that it wasn't an original prompt, but that is reading disability representation. So in this prompt, you're going to read 5 books that feature a different disability within the protagonist's story in some way. It does not have to be a focal point, but it can be a physical disability. It can be a mental disability. It does not have to be a book about that disability, but the protagonist does have to have it in some way, shape, or form. And it does kind of have to be canonically stated. Some, are interpreted in a certain way. If the author confirms that, yes, this main character has, anxiety or something, that can count, even if it's not explicitly stated in the book. But it can't be your own personal interpretation of it, if that makes sense. But they must be 5 different disabilities. You can't use the same disability twice. Let's read diversely. That's the whole point. Prompt number 7 is Heritage Month. So there's a lot of different representation and a lot of different months throughout the year that celebrate our diverse background. We're going to read books that kind of represent each of those heritage months in some way, shape, or form. You do not have to read them within that month, but it's like kind of cool if you do. So we have Black History Month, Arab Heritage Month, Indigenous Heritage Month, Women's History Month, Jewish Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Pride Month, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and Disability Pride. Doesn't matter what order you read them in, doesn't matter if they're like an official declared version of it, but if you can find a way to connect it to that Heritage Month, that'll do. And number 8, translated works. And you see the theme with diversity here because Herkyed loves DEI. You must read 5 translated works. They have to be translated into whatever language you prefer to read in from a different language. You cannot use the same language twice, but you have to do 5 different languages. Prompt number 9, continuing the theme of diversity. We're going around the world. We're going to travel to every single continent. So I want you to find books that are set or the author is from said continents. We're going to North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia. You don't have to do Antarctica, but if you find one and you read it, you get, I would definitely say that's a 5-point extra for you. Okay. I do know a couple books that have settings in Antarctica. I'm pretty sure the Midnight Library at some point is set in Antarctica. Prompt number 10, the even bigger rainbow, because apparently Dark Q made it too easy last time. We are retaining almost all of the original colors, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, white, black, but we are nixing brown. That one, who likes brown anyway? But we are adding a few colors. We are adding teal. We are adding light blue. We are adding silver or gold or both. And we are adding a book with all of the Roy G. Biv on the cover. 7 or more colors, basically. Doesn't actually have to be the 7 Roy G. Bivs. Just has to be 7 or more colors on the cover. Prompt number 11. This is my new favorite one that I'm very excited for. If you are a spooky cryptid girl like me, or like Dark Q, you will enjoy this one. We have 8 different paranormal creatures that must be featured in the book in some way. Obviously, this one does not have to be a protagonist, but they can't just be a one-off, like someone mentions that they happen to like Bigfoot. That doesn't work. Bigfoot has to be a character in it. Wonder where you could read a book where Bigfoot's a character in it. Couldn't tell you. Now, these are also open to interpretation, but the first one is vampires or vampire-like creatures. So if you've never read the Book Eaters, those are not strictly vampires, but they are very vampiric adjacent. That would count. Next is shifters. In any way, do not have to be werewolves. They just have to be shifters. We then have magic users. These can be witches or wizards or mages, anything like that. But I would prefer if you kept HP out of this because we don't like turfy nonsense here at Herkyed HQ. Then we have our beloved fae folk. Doesn't matter what kind of fae. They can be fairies, they can be elves, they can be pixies, they can be redcaps. Doesn't matter. We then have merfolk, or creatures of the sea. It doesn't have to be like a mermaid or a merman. It could be a kraken. For all I care. It can be anything as long as they live under the sea. I shouldn't sing that just in case of copyright. Then we have spirits. Any kind of ghost or demon or poltergeist, yokai, any kind of that, that'll work. And zombies. Now, these do not have to be zombie eat your brain. It can be any kind of the undead as long as like the character has been unalived and revived in a way. So currently I'm reading Zebulon Finch. He would count for this because he was unalived and now is like this immortal person who is essentially a walking zombie. So that would work. And the last one is open to interpretation, just other creatures that don't fit into those categories. So, you know, like Bigfoot, or let's say, I don't know, a phoenix or something like that. Any kind of creature. Definitely could not think of some suggestions for those two in particular, but I'm sure they're out there. Number 12 is the Avatar Challenge. You're going to become the Avatar and read books that either have on the cover or in the title, but you have to choose which path, have a water, fire, earth and air element on them or in the title. You can also go big and do both, but if you're going to do only elements on the cover, you cannot mix it with a title word. Okay. Prompt number 13. We all love M&Os here. And so what better way to showcase that than with an animal prompt? We have 5 different categories of animals. The animal must be featured in some way in the book, not just, again, a one-off sentence, and not just like on the cover and it's just the interpretation of something else. It has to be in the book. The animal itself has to exist in the book. So we have our everyday house pets, our cats and dogs. And then we have our exotic house pets, our parrots, our bearded dragons, our guinea pigs, anything you would need an exotic vet for, that's your exotic pets. Then we have our farm animals, so pigs, goats, horses, cows, anything you would find on a farm. And yes, weird exotic farms like the useless farm that has the emus and stuff, sure, that'll count, but you might want to save it for the other ones. Then we have our wild animals, and this is going to be different depending on where you live. So with whatever's a wild, like almost forest creature here. So in Ohio, I saw a possum and a skunk the other day. If that's featured, I saw a deer running down the road driving to work the other day. Any kind of wild animal in your area, that'll do. And lastly is a zoo animal. So an animal that you would find at a zoo near you. Again, this is going to be dependent on what is around you. So like for me, we don't have alligators in Ohio, but they're in the zoo. But if you live in like Louisiana or Florida, that's a wild animal and they're there, probably in both actually, but there's going to be some crossover. You decide where you put it. And number 14, by popular demand, it is back and it is even gayer. It's the even queerer alphabet. So we are bringing back everybody from last round, except for questioning. We have gotten rid of that one, but we have brought in some new ones. So again, we're going to have our gay protagonist, lesbian protagonist, bisexual or pansexual protagonist, our intersex protagonist, asexual, but you can use the umbrella as well. So demisexual, gray sexual will also count for this. We're going to have our trans protagonist in some way, trans man, trans woman, doesn't matter. But we are also adding our polyamory, our non-binary or agender or gender queer, and gender fluid, bigender, or two-spirit. So they're in 3 different categories. So non-binary, agender, and gender queer are all in one category. So it doesn't matter which one of those you read. And then the gender fluid, bigender, and two-spirit also in one category there. Prompt number 15, BIPOC authors. As you can see, the theme for this year's Herkyet is really DEI, and I want you to read 10 books with authors from different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, okay? Doesn't matter which one you choose. Try not to use the same ones twice. In fact, that's kind of the rule, is not to use the same one twice, but I understand that distribution can be a little bit different depending on your location. So do as best as you can. And back by popular demand, prompt number 16 is the new releases challenge. However, Dark Q did listen and learn, and we have extended the amount of days before or after you can read to 60 instead of 30. So you can read the book 60 days prior if you have an ARC, or 60 days after, because a lot of people do get them from libraries and sometimes can be very difficult to get to that book. Prompt number 17 is the non-fiction challenge. Dark Q did happen to notice quite often in the Discord people talking about how they wanted to read more non-fiction books. Well, now's your opportunity. You're going to read 5 different topics of nonfiction books. It can be in any way. So if you want to read an autobiography, great, but that's your one autobiography. Then you can read a biography or a self-help or just a science topic or a topic on history or some way, shape, and form. That doesn't matter as long as they are different things. So if you're reading, let's say, about a birder, and then you read a book about birds, those both would count, okay? It's not covering, like you can only read one time of birds. But as long as there are different ways to present nonfiction material, that will count. And the final prompt, number 18, is my recommendation. So Dark Q has many ways that she reviews books, and you're going to have to read one from each of those reviews. So you can pick from Dark Q's TikTok shorts and reels, as well as the cozy mini reviews that are like 5-minute reviews, a little bit more in depth. There are indies, arcs, the obsessed reviews, the commission reviews, any of those would work. And then the longer reading vlogs tackling. It can be a recommendation in any of those. There are helpful playlists to help you pick and choose. Now you might be wondering, hey Q, how are you going to do this? You've already read those books. Well, I'm so glad you asked for the secret prompt. For 5 extra points, you have to give me books to review in either a TikTok or a smaller review that's like under 10 minutes long and a long reading vlog. You have to tell me, okay? Put them in the comments and I will pick out of a hat. That's how I'm going to do it. And that is the end of the white prompts. Let's move on to those dastardly purple prompts. The subgenres challenge. So we all love different genres of books, but I want you to delve a little deeper into those genres, okay? I want you to read 6 different subgenres within the large genre. So, for example, if you're a fantasy reader like me, that means you would have to read a romantasy, a cozy fantasy, an urban fantasy, a dystopian fantasy, a bunch of different ones, a horror fantasy, and a historical fantasy. Okay, doesn't matter which ones, there's lots of subgenres to pick from. You choose within your main genre. Purple prompt number 2 is award season. Last time Dark Q made you read the Spiffbo challenge, but there's lots of different awards out there, but you must read 7 books that were in a competition in some way. That means you're going to spread them out between winners, finalists, semifinalists, and entries. Now, some competitions don't announce all the different levels of this, so you may read from more than one competition, but you do have to at least once hit each of those levels, okay? Doesn't matter how you do the distribution for it, but you must do one of each plus 3 more books. Got it? And it doesn't matter what the competition is. It can be focused on any kind of books, but that'll do. There is a list of recommendations on those different challenges, those different award competitions and stuff. There is a handy dandy helpful list, but if you know of one that isn't on that list, that'll be fine. Purple prompt number 3 is one of my favorite ones, and this is the TBR game challenge. There are so many TBR games out on the internet. I want you to play one of them, and whatever TBR you get from that game, you have to read. Okay, it can. There is a list again of about like 30 different TBR games that I have personally found on the internet that you can use, or if you know of another one. It cannot be your own TBR game if you have one already. You have to play something else. This is just a very exciting one. This is one I'm probably the most excited for. It just seems so fun to play other people's games, and there's a lot of people out there who have games that are easily to take on yourself. Some people have even developed full video games, like the After Hours video game. Seems so fun to play. Purple prompt number 4 is probably the most evil of all the purple prompts, and that is, you know how last time we had to read a book for each letter in our full names? Well, now you're going to read a book for every word in a quote that you choose, a famous quote that you like, not just a random quote that like one of your friends said or something, but a well-known, more or less, quote. So you could choose, it is a truth universally acknowledged that every man of fortune must be in want of a wife. But that's a lot of words. And you must pull them from titles, from author names, and subtitles will count, but blurbs and things, they don't count. So choose wisely. I did do some research and found that most quotes are 17 to 25 words long. So there's that. You could do Call Me Ishmael? That's fine. But I don't know of a book title that has Ishmael in it, or an author named Ishmael. Good luck. Purple prompt number 5 is the Join Another Readathon. Now, you don't have to actually join another readathon. You can just use the prompts from a past readathon and just read books from those, but you do have to complete that readathon. Or if you join a readathon, but you don't complete the prompts within that readathon's parameters, you can still read the prompts throughout the year to finish it. But, there's lots of fun readathons out there that have much easier prompts than this, so Have a little fun doing that. Purple prompt number 6 is I Miss Herkyed 1. So you can choose your favorite prompt from Herkyed round 1. Do it again. Doesn't matter which one it is. Just do it again. Have fun. And the final prompt, which was revealed during a stats video, is the challenge yourself. We all have different goals for our reading. Well, here's the one for you, where you're going to put that goal into Herkyed and make it something you have to do. So whether your goal is to, fully read your TBR, your physical TBR, or maybe it's to read more nonfiction books, or it's read a bunch of books featuring such and such type of person. Doesn't matter. As long as it's your own personal challenge, there you go. And that is all the prompts for Herkyed 2.0. Again, put all your questions down below or save them for the live stream tomorrow on June 7th. And if you can't make it to the live stream, don't worry, Dark Q will answer all the questions in the comments below. And go explore the website. There is a spreadsheet downloadable for you for your tracking purposes that does have the points tracker. It has nice planning sheets for all of your stuff. And special surprise, there are journal spreads for you to download as well, designed by our lovely Jess. And also a big shout out to Asura for helping with the spreadsheet this time around. Give them all a big round of applause. New minions. Coming for my job. Well, I hope this didn't intimidate you too much, but I hope it does motivate you and that you decide to sign up. So definitely go click on that sign up sheet down below, and it's okay if you don't finish. The boss has made it so that you can't do it. That's why it's the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Time to go back in my little hovel of a cubicle for boss, and I'll see you next time. Also in this video, there was a secret prompt revealed. See if you can figure out what it is. There are going to be secret prompts throughout Herkyed 2.0, just FYI. No digging behind me, or at all. No, my God, why can I not say this phrase correctly? Paul, don't eat the grass. No eating grass. Hi, Willow. Can I help you? No, not up to. Why am I saying up to? Hold on. Pause for wind. I know. Hey, sir. My good man. It's okay. Grumble, grumble. Come here. Paul, come. Hey, come. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I just said the wrong thing. Total purple, I can't say purple prompts series of any number. Wow, guys, really? Wind. Wind, it's windy boy. Hi. Zoomies. The zoomy boy. Brrrah. And Zoomy girl now. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Zoom, zoom. Someone's living their best life. Oh no, the lighting is shifting. However, Dark Q did lursen. Dark Q lursened. What are you doing? Sir, we do not chew on the roots of the tree. And there is a spider on my camera. Hey, buddy. Paul, do you see how they're just like chilling in the sun? You could do that too, instead of wreaking havoc around the yard. Little guy, I'm gonna need you to get off the camera, okay?